Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Surviving the Badge wears two cops in a bar talking cop shit. So something that's really been kind of bothering me and it's been in the news is this whole, what is it, Weinstein or
Epstein
and p-diddy and all this, the sexual trafficking predators. And it's just really been bothering me, man. I have 4 children. And, I wasn't the perfect father, but I'll tell you what, none of that shit ever went on in this house or anybody in my family ever. And, I feel for the kids that have been through this and everything, but that's what the show's going to be about tonight is the sexual trafficking, the human trafficking, and the exploitation of children.
Yeah.
And I was trying to have a guest on, but I just couldn't link up with him. He worked with the FBI. Maybe the next time we do something like this,
was he in Innocent Images?
I don't know. He was with the task force with the FBI that did child porn stuff.
Innocent Images. Yeah.
Yeah. He's phenomenal. I work with him where I'm at now. But anyway, so just, some statistics here. A total of 1,912 persons were referred to U.S. attorneys for human trafficking offenses in the fiscal year of 2022, 26% increase from 1,519 persons in 2012. So, I mean, that's 26% increase in 10 years.
And that's just referrals. That's not total cases. I mean,
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. The number of persons prosecuted for human trafficking more than doubled from 2012 to 22, from 805 to 1656. The number that was convicted of the offense increased from 578 to 1,118. I say a lot of that is due to the internet now, the availability of the internet to all of these persons that may not have had it before.
Yeah.
And I just think that although it is an immense tool that we use and it's incredible, it's also the root of a lot of this evil.
Absolutely.
It really is.
And when you have customers who are wanting that, obviously, just like narcotics, just like, anything else, if you've got somebody who wants that material, there's going to be people who are producing that material.
And there's some more statistics here. I'm not going to go through all the statistics, but the definition is commercial sexual exploitation of children defines the umbrella of crimes and activities that involved inflicting sexual abuse onto a child as a financial or personal opportunity.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're using these children, they're selling them as sex slaves, basically all over the world. It's not just here, folks. Everybody thinks, oh, well, the U.S. has a problem. We have a bunch of pedophiles and buddy, it's bad in Asia, really bad. Cambodia, we're going to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, you mentioned the Epstein case and what he was doing. He was a millionaire who procured, Ghislaine Maxwell procured young people, mostly women, but children essentially under the age, and they would bring them to this island, this Epstein Island, and rich people from throughout the world would come to this island and to have sex with children. And it's sick. Just, I don't get the mindset. Is it just a powerful thing? Like you mentioned, p-diddy is like, oh, well, I've done everything else. Well, let me do the taboo of all taboos. I just don't get how you can be a human being on this planet and do these vile, disgusting things to children.
I don't either. And I hear some of these so-called stars, back before they got busted or they were linked to this guy, saying there is no party like a p-diddy party.
Right. Yeah.
What the hell does that mean? I mean, you can imagine the amount of drugs and shit that was going on there and the illegal, sexual. It just makes me sick to my stomach, man. It really does.
I never worked in a sex crimes unit. Our buddy Sean, he did sex crimes for a little bit, and
I couldn't have.
He got out. He's like, I can't do it anymore.
I could not.
I worked some child porn cases, and it's horrendous what an adult will do to a child. It's the worst of the worst that anything can be done to children.
It is, other than killing them. But I mean,
sometimes death would be better than what
well, it would, because they won't have to suffer that.
Yeah.
And what these animals don't realize is, they sexually abuse these children, and then these children, it's not like, oh, okay, the sexual abuse is over, I'm okay now, everything's fine, it stopped.
That's a long-lasting thing forever.
It's
that's
life.
And people and these kids are committing suicide.
It's life altering.
They have, it is. I think that's well said. Life altering.
They find hard to hold a job, to have friends, to a good friend.
How can you trust anybody after what has happened to you?
A good friend of ours, and I will never divulge who this person is. Both of their children went through this from the father.
Yeah.
And it totally destroyed these children and this woman. It destroyed their whole lives. And thank God she is an extremely strong person to be able to come around and have some modicum of a life for these kids and be there for them, because it's terrible.
Now, some of the human trafficking is labor human trafficking.
It is.
They will bring women from all over the world to work in hotels and businesses and all this kind of stuff. So it's not 100% sex trafficking, but it is a big portion of that. And I don't want to sound political, because this will be our second show that we touch a little bit on politics, but locking down the border will have an absolute dent in this nationwide.
Absolutely.
When you have an open border and you're bringing in women and children to people who are like this and who are going to work these people at in ungodly condition work or in the sex trade, you lock that border down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, it doesn't end it, but it's got to be done something. And there's a lot of worldwide effort to control this. But just like narcotics, like we talked about, if there's still customers for this, there's going to be people who,
and there's always going to be.
Yeah.
All we can hope is that through these enforcement efforts and locking down the border and everything else, that those customers dwindle down to where it's not nearly as bad. So before we go into the causes and the gender specific stuff and what parents can do to help stop this, let's talk about our fallen officers and let's salute them. So go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now we're sitting at 19, and it's still primarily by gunshots and by auto related. So we're sitting at 19. Florida had the most recent one just a few days ago. And so for our brothers and sisters in blue and green, we salute you.
Salute. God bless. And our Fallen Heroes Salute moment is brought to you by our sponsors, and here's a word from them. Contact Mainstreet Realty for all your real estate needs. This power team includes Tom Clem, a veteran Marine and retired law enforcement professional. Thank you, Kristen and Tom. We really appreciate all of your sponsorship. They provide all the beer and liquor and support that we need as far as equipment and stuff. We really appreciate it very much. All right. So part of when I do my research, part of this is the causes. Poverty. Over 35% of the world population lives on less than $2 a day, with around 2.5 billion humans being at risk for human trafficking. The parents are promised by the trafficking, people that their children will become educated or maybe properly nourished, and even possible money trade between they're called groomers, and the parents. Some parents trade their children for money as a way to pay off debt due to lack of education. Many of the parents living in poverty are unaware of the children's surrounding commercial exploitation of children, and view it as a chance they think their child can have a better life.
Yeah, they're taken in by, hopefully their child, and ultimately everybody wants better life for their child, but it's just a scam. They don't care about these children. They're a ways to make money. And when you mentioned groomers, I was thinking about Ghislaine Maxwell. I mentioned her earlier. How do you, and maybe I'm sounding old fashioned, but how do you, as a woman who should have that mothering gene,
yeah, right,
find these children so that men can have sex with them.
I don't get it, man.
Hey, I'm gonna bring you in for modeling. I think you're beautiful. Let's bring you in for modeling. Oh, nope, you're a victim.
There's not enough money on the face of this planet to get me to turn over a young person to a known scumbag like him.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no way.
You remember Jared from Subway?
Yeah.
He got busted for
he did.
For traveling to have sex with a minor.
Yep.
And I'm like,
some of the stories that Steve tells us, we ride around in a van together, and he's retired now. He doesn't give us like any names or anything, but some of the stories he tells us and what these people would do and tell these kids online and stuff to get them to meet them. And of course their agent is posing as undercover as a child. I was like, are you freaking I was a cop 35 years and I never thought somebody would go to those lengths.
Yeah. You remember,
it's insane.
You remember the show To Catch a Predator?
Yes.
And how there was some of the guys would walk in naked to meet a 14-year-old boy or 14-year-old girl.
Promise some drugs, liquor, alcohol, whatever.
And then when they're confronted, they're like, "Oh, I wasn't going to do anything."
Yeah, I was changing my clothes. What, at the front door?
It's him. Hodge, Blevins, move. It's him. Take him down now.
I'm moving.
He is in the baseball field parking lot. He sees Rue. He's on the south corner.
I see him.
Watch for his hand.
Show me your hands. Let me see your hand. Let me see your hand. Walk back. Walk back. Hands up in there.
Go down to your knees. Cross your feet.
What brings you to the park today?
I was told me to try to talk to a young girl and it's not doing stuff. I've got kids her age and...
So you're coming here to meet a young girl. How old's the girl?
She said she was 15.
15?
And talking like she was, I felt like, something needed to be done, so I was going to talk with her.
How was she talking?
Sexual stuff to me.
Sexual stuff?
Yes.
Okay, were you talking any kind of sexual stuff to her?
I was seeing what she was going to say, yes, sir.
You were sending some pretty graphic stuff to her.
Trying to scare her off from it, yes, sir.
Trying to scare her off from it?
Yes, sir.
Good gosh, this thing's a mess. Yeah, I'm sure Michaela wasn't getting this.
Kind of hold another bottle.
What's he got?
A bunch of marijuana, a meat cleaver, razor blades, ammo, rope, a holster for a gun.
The prince wanted to have sex with Michaela in the back of his truck. And when you look in his truck, there is just stuff everywhere. There's garbage and cigarette butts and box cutter and ammunition and pot. It is not the environment that one would choose to woo a young lady. I believe that it didn't matter to him because he was just gonna pull her in a car, take her somewhere, and rape her. I'm really glad that the prince is in custody, and I'm glad that there are no more minors in his path.
I show these to my students, and they're shocked because I want my students to know that there are these kind of people out there. And one of the Catch a Predators is this guy's pulling in, he parks, and he gets his 5-year-old son out of the car with him to go in and meet this
dude.
Right? Yeah, and so they arrest him. Yeah, can you imagine the phone call? How do you make that phone call to your wife? Hey, honey, I've been arrested. Oh, really? Where'd you go? Well, I went to this house to have sex with a minor, and I brought little Timmy with me.
And some of the problem in other parts of the world is corrupt law enforcement. These buyers and these sellers of these people, the women and the children and all, they pay off law enforcement in these third world countries and all, and law enforcement turns a blind eye. So if they do escape somehow and go to law enforcement and tell them, oh, I was, okay, well, we'll take care of it. And they bring them right back. That doesn't happen in the U.S., but in the third world countries, it does. So here's some of the dangers and the consequences. Whether the children be in pornography, brothels, trafficked, they are all risk of sexually transmitted infections, physical violence, and psychological deterioration. That's the big thing. I mean, obviously the physical violence and everything, but that stuff will heal.
Yeah, bruises heal.
Sexually transmitted diseases, most of them heal. That psychological deterioration,
That scar's there forever.
that's life.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, it's life altering. So, outside of the physical and psychological dangers lies the fear of the law. Many girls and women are illegally trafficked across the borders because they think once they're inside, then they can't leave because they're not allowed to cross the border.
Yep.
So they think they're stuck.
And their passports are
They're taken.
Yep.
So, we go over all this. What can parents do? Parents, be freaking parents.
Yeah.
Know what your children are doing at all times.
Go through their shit.
Look at their phones. Know who their friends are. Know where they're going at night. Know where they're going. If they say, oh, I'm going to, Billy Bob Brubake's house, for a little party. Call Billy Bob Brubake's parents and say, hey, are you having a party over there?
Yeah.
Oh, what the hell are you talking about? Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Be that nosy ass parents, so nosy that your kids are pissed off. Right.
And we're not saying that you have to be the helicopter parent where they walk out the door and you're following them everywhere and all that. There is a balance. Don't let them get online, guys, without some kind of filter on their online chat time. There are the dark web and everything else, and these kids are smarter and smarter and smarter. They can get on that damn web and figure that shit out before you can even snap your neck around. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, LT, I think you said it right. Be a parent. Be a parent. Don't be their buddy.
You can do that when they become adults.
Exactly. Be a good, solid, caring. Sometimes it's hard to make those hard choices, but sometimes you got to say no, and sometimes you got to do the right thing, no matter how pissed off they get about it.
And it says right in all the information that I pulled is that these groomers, when a parent is involved and they know that the parent is very close to this child, that is a big red flag for them to move on and go work with some other kid or try to get some other kid, because they know they're not going to have any luck getting this child because the parents are all over it.
Yeah.
And if it's that 1 second, man, where they're talking to somebody and this person is giving them, and what it is you're beautiful. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. And they lure them in with that confidence, and they, and they bring them into their little web.
Yep.
And if your son or daughter has had a bad time at school or a bad breakup, that is the perfect freaking time for these groomers to jump in there and start getting their confidence and all.
These high school kids are emotional 24/7.
So be careful what they're putting on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all that about their relationships and I'm feeling down and all that, because these people are preying on people just like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just be aware, be careful. Any closing comments on any of that?
No, I think it was well said, LT. You guys out there, let us know what you think and give us some resources. And there are plenty of resources out there. Give us some comments. And while you're commenting, make sure and like and subscribe. Let us know about the sound. And that's all I've got. And always remember, at Surviving the Badge,
we still got your 6. Salute.
Be
careful out there.
Stay safe.